It's a pleasure to have you here. Our details now. Thousands of structures sited in the way of high-tension voltage transmission lines in the Ashanti region have been demolished. The exercise, which affected some residential, commercial and religious structures, is to pave way for the reconstruction of the 161 kV Konongo-Kumasi high-tension line. It's been 62 years since the poles had been renovated. JoyNews' Ohiming reports victims affected by the exercise appear to have accepted their fate.
The Konongo-Kumasi line is being reconstructed into a double-circuit line to carry more power in the Kumasi area at the time encroachers had invaded the lines. This will also improve the voltage stability and power reliability in the catchment. Gridco served notice for the exercise in 2022 after meeting all traditional leaders and affected people. Affected residents, whilst counting their losses, say they cannot blame Gridco since they were given ample time to evacuate. One of them is Samuel Pra, who runs a mobile money shop.
They informed us since last year around June. Though it's going to affect me, but there's nothing I can do, because most of the times there was a canopy outside. Now we've removed the canopy. So when it's raining, the rain, it beats my customers. So those who usually sit under the canopy, they have to come inside. And not all of them are good people. Some of them, if you don't watch them very well, they are going to steal your money. So it has affected me. But there's nothing I can do, since it is going to benefit the whole nation.
Abubakar Siddiq lost his laundry shop at Eija to the demolition exercise. He is worried about the job loss to his over 15 employees.
I am shishie and insurance because as a mere mijina my laundries na wa my employee in Kwalabe 15. And in Kwalabe 15, Sansun way bar ebe kan kwalano ebe kame yeremo ebe ka ebinom so yeremo na mum do mo beye ye no mo dibim efi say e aban asase e na viera asase so tena no ye nyina no bebi nuwa ye betena ntine ebe pechi.
Many more encroachers continue to self-evacuate ahead of the arrival of the Gridco team. But this woman, Ekwe, was seen hurling curses on the Gridco team for demolishing her container shop at the time she was evacuating. According to her, the team raised her shop when carpenters were busily removing roofing sheets.
Almost yentu and a jayetu. And to be the carpenter needs so. Oh, come on now with the carpenter in the cry day, and you throw. Now we say carpenter in a while. What is so do? Somebody ready. Ya person I can do to. What would you have been numerous container can see any in Rio Gusunina? Container can see a more Diego. Abraham could tell 150 million commitment as a container. Never be the only woman I would tell no one over to two. Now, so quite a sad idea, Assembliano. One more quite a sad idea, so Obudu baby and Obudia and Assembliano. Now, so one man found Jandy and Yamino Medi. Yamakopon no bed one fan chum cry. Send Yamino no more needs one when you.
JoyNews checks revealed Madame Afriye's shop and two other shops suffered the same fate, though all other shops were spared by the team. Officials of Gridco are yet to respond to allegations raised by Madame Afriye. From Kumasi, for JoyNews, Ohiming reporting.
To some other stories now, and the Chief Justice, Kwesi Anini-Abuah, has cautioned citizens against yielding to what he calls unlawful demands by judicial officers and staff. He describes as cruel the act of harassment and extortion of money from persons who seek justice from the courts. He wants such acts reported for redress. Justice Anini-Abuah was speaking at the inauguration of a courthouse at Riamuasi in the Ashanti region. Nanaya Ujima has more.
The construction of the Riamuasi District Court forms part of a drive to provide 110 courthouses and bungalows to address the infrastructural needs of the judiciary. According to the Chief Justice, it is the biggest investment in history in the area of justice delivery. But Justice Anini-Abuah says the investments may fail to yield the desired results if staff of the judicial service fail to dispense their services professionally.
I would like to remind the staff that most clients who patronize our services are often physically and emotionally distressed. They need comfort and help as they turn to the courts for justice. Harassment in all its manifestations, including threats and extorting money from persons who come to court for redress, is the cruelest way to treat our own people. I urge the public to stand firm and refuse to give in to the unlawful demands of judicial officers and staff. Do not be afraid to report such people for appropriate disciplinary action to be taken against them. I can assure you that the Judicial Council will not shield any judicial officer or staff found to have been guilty of misconduct.
The newly inaugurated courthouse is expected to serve the needs of people in the Seche South District. Chief of Staff Akosua Frema Osei Opare says the pursuit of justice will be made less expensive due to proximity of the courthouse.
Permit me to highlight the need for the Legal Aid Commission, which has the mandate of rendering free legal services to citizens, to spread its arm to communities such as this. This will make the dream of providing quality and equitable legal services to the poor and vulnerable in society a reality. I also appeal to the judiciary to deal with all cases expeditiously to ensure timely delivery of justice.
Meanwhile, Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah has lauded the new courthouses inaugurated across the Ashanti region.
And these are structures built for purpose, not those ones we used to know, where private residential accommodations were hired or rented to be used as courthouses without the needed facilities. This one, they are all built for purpose. Unfortunately, they all have residential accommodation for the judge.
For JoyNews, Nana Yaojima, Kumasi.
To some other stories now, and the Chief Justice, Kwesi Anini-Abuah, has cautioned citizens against yielding to what he calls unlawful demands by judicial officers and staff. He describes as cruel the act of harassment and extortion of money from persons who seek justice from the courts. He wants such acts reported for redress. Justice Anini-Abuah was speaking at the inauguration of a courthouse at Riamuasi in the Ashanti region. Nana Yaojima has more.
The construction of the Riamuasi District Court forms part of a drive to provide 110 courthouses and bungalows to address the infrastructure needs of the judiciary. According to the Chief Justice, it is the biggest investment in history in the area of justice delivery. But Justice Anini-Abuah says the investments may fail to yield the desired results if staff of the judicial service fail to dispense their services professionally.
I would like to remind the staff that most clients who patronize our services are often physically and emotionally distressed. They need comfort and help as they turn to the courts for justice. Harassment in all its manifestations, including threats and extorting money from persons who come to court for redress, is the cruelest way to treat our own people. I urge the public to stand firm and refuse to give in to the unlawful demands of judicial officers and staff. Do not be afraid to report such people for appropriate disciplinary action to be taken against them. I can assure you that the Judicial Council will not shield any judicial officer or staff found to have been guilty of misconduct.
The newly inaugurated courthouse is expected to serve the needs of people in the Seche South District. Chief of Staff Akosua Frema Osei Opare says the pursuit of justice will be made less expensive due to proximity of the courthouse.
Permit me to highlight the need for the Legal Aid Commission, which has the mandate of rendering free legal services to citizens, to spread its arm to communities such as this. This will make the dream of providing quality and equitable legal services to the poor and vulnerable in society a reality. I also appeal to the judiciary to deal with all cases expeditiously to ensure timely delivery of justice.
Meanwhile, Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah has lauded the new courthouses inaugurated across the Ashanti region.
And these are structures built for purpose, not those one we used to know, where private residential accommodations were hired or rented to be used as courthouses without the needed facilities. This one, they are all built for purpose. Unfortunately, they all have residential accommodation for the judge.
For JoyNews, Nana Yaojima, Kumasi.
Now, the next story you're about to see is one of uncertainty among staff of Ghana's biggest indigenous cocoa buying company, the PBC, as it continues to post huge revenue losses. According to its audited reports for 2020, the company lost 1.9 billion cedis in a period of 4 years. In our latest Hotline documentary, PBC Troubles, our investigative desk explores what may be accounting for the steep decline in the company's market share from 30.88% in 2016 to 8% in 2021.
In August 2022, a circular copied all staff indicated that payment of salaries would delay due to the current financial challenges facing the company. When we spoke to the staff who pleaded anonymity in November 2022, he told JoyNews their salaries delayed for 3 months last year. It was not only difficult for many to fend for themselves, but their families as well.
Staff salary, they were owing us 3 months, but currently they've paid the 3 months. But as we speak, we don't know when our next salary payment is coming, and we have no idea.
He said it was now difficult for staff to access welfare loans from the company, which wasn't the norm in recent past.
Okay, the welfare fund is a revolving fund. So they wrote to us that there are no funds available, so nobody should apply for welfare loan. But with regards to the tier 3, we have paid it is our money, and we have contributed, and it is 10 years now. And the agreement was that when it is 10 years, they have to pay all the monies to us. But it is 10 years now, and they are refusing to release the funds to us, which is making all the staffs, every staff is agitating. Every staff is agitating about this tier 3.
So dire is the financial situation that PBC suspended the intake of national service personnel for the 2022-2023 year. In a circular cited by JoyNews, the Human Resource Manager, William Ayusi, cited the current financial challenges of the company as the reason. In January 2022, PBC wrote to the Ministry of Employment about its intention to restructure the company, including downsizing its staff. It cited the prevailing financial and operational downturn, making it difficult to pay staff and meet its obligations to stakeholders. It said the staff who will be affected by the downsizing are those without establishment. Our sources suggest that when CocoaBoard secured the cocoa syndicated loan last year, it loaned PBC with an estimated 350 million Ghana cedis. Management used 50 million cedis to cover staff remuneration and other administrative expenses. The national projection PBC set for itself for the 2022-2023 main crop season was to purchase 170,000 tons of cocoa. But with the limited funds in PBC's account, this target remains a pipe dream and leaves staff in another boat of uncertainty on what fate hangs on the survival of PBC and possible payment of their remuneration.
About 4 years in me, baby, shares no market share no former echo, a former echo. Because woman, you woman, so woman, woman, appointees, government appointees, ne do woman. It will go wow, back who call them to Manukra, we never worry, no one see another transfer in your human. The market share no the company be, but woman to me can and Okreno and pieces na yɛne wɔ mu yɛ adwuma na yɛn nso no yɛne pharmacy no tie kurase hɔ and yɛhu pharmacy no situation keduru bere bi a yɛne yɛboa wɔn mu company mfɛsika ma si yɛmfa mo pharmacy yɛn yɛtumi kɔpɛ loan ne yɛhu sɛ ahokyere bi mu no ɛte sɛ yɛboaboa pharmacy no kakra wɔn nte sɛ wɔn bɛti koko no October no na wɔn atua ebi deɛ kora tumi kɔba 1 year na pharmacy de akrakyɛfoɔ no ka ɛnso company ni mu hwɛ wɔn mfɛsika sika de to go kura womunya bi ma ebede na wonya bi dia abobosi etiye no odra ye wo ma company no yetimu se nya no bi na mpanimfo no e wo ma company no osoro ho omu de omu da se omu sika na omu di na hia.
Details of our latest hotline documentary PBC Troubles airs at 8:30 a.m. on Monday on the Super Morning Show and much later on JoyNews Prime on the same day. Details of our next story may be disturbing to some of you. Viewer discretion is advised. The Ghana Boundary Commission is facilitating the construction of the first feeder road to the border community of Dollar Power in the Savannah region. The community, with a population of about 10,000, has no police presence, mainly because there are no roads to patrol. Addressing the press during a visit to the area, the national coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Kotia, said the road will help regular inspection of the international boundary between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. Maxwell Agbagba has more in this report.
Welcome to Dollar Power. In this community, there are no access roads, so the community people only use motorbikes. We're here with the Ghana Boundary Commission. We are doing an inspection of Ghana's international boundary line with Cote d'Ivoire. Major General Emmanuel Kotia has been addressing the press after visiting the site himself on a motorbike. He says Ghana Boundary Commission is working together with the 48th Engineer Regiment to provide some feeder roads. This, he says, will help with the regular inspection of Ghana's international boundary line with Cote d'Ivoire. He says it would also improve security here in the line with Cote d'Ivoire. He says it would also improve security here in this community.
Tucked away from the eagle eyes of security agencies, some residents here are causing devastating damage to the environment with impunity. The lack of roads at Dollar Power has made policing very difficult. There is no police station. This has given rise to many challenges like illegal mining and more. Speaking during a sensitization program organized by the Ghana Boundary Commission, DC for the area, Veronica Alele, says the construction of the road will make the community easily accessible.
Bridge, you know, yebeye, enra, wamu de wamu niema nyina besi ho. Se wamu beye bridge, you know, na wamu yikwana. We need to give them a feeder road because the border itself is motor lane. So if we have a feeder road, it will help the forestry to monitor the activities. It will also help the people themselves to actually monitor activities of criminals and all sorts of people, the ones who just come into Ghana and run back. So that will help them. And then the police station is very key. If we can need a post, a police post to put here, it will help.
A core function of the Ghana Boundary Commission is identifying challenges in border communities and collaborating with relevant state institutions to address them. The Commission is bringing together state institutions to address the challenges in Dollar Power. National Coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Kotia, says the Commission is facilitating the construction of a road. He says this will help with the regular inspection of the international boundary line between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. It will also help with regular patrols by the security agencies.
One of the key challenges that we found out here is accessibility, especially road accessibility to the area. As a result of that, security agencies and other agencies are not able to undertake. One thing we have done as a Boundary Commission is to facilitate the construction of a feeder road. And as I'm speaking to you, the 48th Engineer Regiment has started putting their resources together, and the feeder road is going to be constructed along the international boundary line to Dollar Power in that regard. One is going to serve two purposes. The first purpose is for that road to aid inspection, regular inspection of the international boundary line and especially the pillars. And the second purpose is to aid any security agencies or any other agencies like the Minerals Commission to undertake activities in this general area. You will realize that you can only access here, we can only access here by motor, and going around by air, and going around Dollar Power, we can only move around with motorbikes because there is no road within the community.
Speaking during a community sensitization program, Major General Imanokotia urged the residents to safeguard the international boundary line between Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire.
We had reports about the tampering and displacement of boundary pillars in this community. We came for the inspection, verified a number of boundary pillars along the international boundary line between Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire removed. As a result of that, we engaged the chiefs and community leaders of Dollar Power. Then we were able to identify some of the underlying reasons why this had happened. Partly because of illegal mining that was going around, just because people do not really understand why those pillars are there. Now, after the community sensitization during our visits, in subsequent periods, the people here came to an understanding and recognized that these pillars are very important landmarks for the country. I can happily announce that there have not been any tampering of the pillars since those that were identified in 2021. And I must say that the sensitization that went on during that period was very significant and helped to achieve this.
The Bindi community in the northeast region does not have mobile network service, and community leaders say they feel very isolated from the world because of this. According to them, a number of essential public services, including doctors and other health services, have fled the community as a result of this lack. Elias Otanko reports.
Education technology has become the trailblazer of modern development. It provides a means for people to connect, learn vital skills, access goods and services, and gain knowledge. The lack of it, however, increases information access costs and uncertainty in decision-making, among others. Despite these benefits, several residents of the Northeast region are still digitally excluded due to the absence of telecommunication infrastructures in their communities. One such community is the town of Bindi, which is located along the main Nakpanduri-Bunkurugu road with a population of close to 3,000. According to the residents here, the lack of a mobile network or mobile connectivity is making it uncomfortable living in a community. As a result, public services workers are either seeking transfer out or refusing postings to the community, a situation which they say is gradually isolating the community and its members from the rest of the country. This is the Bindi Government Hospital, one of the few referral facilities in the region and the only facility serving all the people in the eastern part of the region and beyond in Burkina Faso and northern Togo. According to the management of the hospital, the absence of a mobile network service not only threatens the provision of quality healthcare delivery, but impedes the well-being of the hospital staff. Slim Seyes is a hospital administrator.
The situation here has affected us so much in the sense that the staff have refused postings here, in the sense that they say when they come here they cannot get their relatives to communicate to. They learned here there's no network. Some of the staffs came, they reported, they were in my office here, they want to speak maybe to the bosses, the regional director. If you remove your phone now, you see that here there's no network. You can check it from your phone and see. They say, here there's no network. I said, yes. Why? I said, the town is like that. We just leave and we don't see them again.
Another administrator, Asigri Susanna, also talks about the challenges.
Mostly, I'm supposed to go on the net and do my updates based on weekly. But then, more times I have to carry my laptop to Bernice for network before I can go on the net. And you know, if I'm going there, I have to go with the picker, and that is fuel. So in effect, I waste a lot of fuel trying to update my work for my superiors to see. I cannot do that here. And it even makes what I'm supposed to do for the day go carry it forward for the next day, because if I'm doing something and I have to go to the net, I break, go to Bimbago. By the time I come, I look tired, then I say, oh, let me go and take a rest. I carry forward activities that are supposed to be done on daily basis.
Benjamin Akolo, on his part as a nurse manager of the hospital, stated that nurses and midwives are refusing postings to the facility.
The network challenge has always been the complaint. Most of them come and they are not able to stay for long. Some who are married complain of having relationship problems with their partners. All because their partners are not able to get them to communicate with them. So when things like this come, as a manager, even though you need staff to work with, but you also look at their welfare. But if they are not psychologically stable, certainly cannot give up their best. So some of these things, you are forced, just having inadequate staff, you are forced to release some of them.
The impact of the absence of a mobile network is not being felt only at the hospital. Here at the Bindi Primary and Junior High School, the teachers say the situation is affecting teaching and learning.
For example, if you want to teach a child water bodies using sea here in the village, it's very hard for a child to really see how the sea or the ocean look like. The best option you need to use is your phone to at least show them pictures of what you are actually talking about. And then here's the case that there's a very bad network. How do you visit this site for them to get that understanding you want them to? Yes. And again, to me personally as a teacher, when I have families far away, when I want to talk to them in terms of crisis or a few ups and downs that I want them to know within a period of time, if I don't get a stable network to get in touch with them, it really disturbs a lot.
For the community members, the absence of a mobile network has affected their socio-economic progress, according to them, by further reducing their livelihood opportunities. They say many of the town's youth have been forced to seek economic opportunity elsewhere due to the situation.
The network is actually affecting our businesses here, we mobile money vendors. Even before someone could even allow cash, it will take more than 15 to 20 minutes. If it continues like that, we will lose our jobs here. I think sometimes because of the network issue, if someone to do enough transaction, he has to move to Bunkuru or Napandru, which the person will get correct network to do his or her transaction.
Our children are in schools. Sometimes they will be in the need of money. When they call, they won't get you because there's no network. If you want to send money to them, it's a problem. No network. If you want to also call sometime and find out their problems, you won't get them. So it's a very big challenge.
Sometimes you just be in town, they want to talk to somebody, you call, they fail to cry to never. And example like those who are working at the hospital like this, because of the network, most of them are running from this town. It's not favorable at all.
You tell us we are going to what digital what and what. Meanwhile, no network and those things cannot function. So as for the network in Bindi, it's poor.
So what's your appeal?
Our appeal is they should come look for a place where they can install the tower to give us network, to boost the network for the people.
The community assemblyman said all efforts to get the attention of both the network service providers and the district assembly authorities to address the challenges have so far fallen on deaf ears, whilst the community continue to be digitally isolated.
You know that nowadays government services are done online. If you want to check your results, if you want to even apply for any opportunity into government sector, you have to do it online. Then here, all you see is that there's no network on your phone. And we have been making follow-ups on MTN and Vodafone to come and put up a network pole here to help us.
So, what has been the impact of the country's digital transformation agenda when communities like Bindi and many others continue to suffer due to the lack of basic telecommunication infrastructures to extend or boost mobile network coverage? From Bindi in the Bunkpurgu Nakpanduri district, Ilya.
And here in our studios in Kokomlemle, I'm Bernice, Abu-Baidoo, Lansah. And environmentalists are warning of a looming disaster along the coast in the Greater Accra region as a result of beach sand waning. About 2 meters of the shoreline is swallowed by the sea annually due to the practice, which is unregulated and illegal. Hundreds of youth at Kolegono earn their incomes picking sandy white beaches of Ghana's coastline. Joy Prime's latest documentary, Accra Galamsey, explores how the illegal practice is worsening the existential threat of climate change and rising sea levels. Here are highlights of the documentary.
Due to man's activities, such as the dumping of plastic waste into the ocean, the existential threat to lives and property along the coast, also of grave concern, is beach sand mining.
Yes, no warriors for you. Yeah, be our Galamsey. Here is our rare Accra Galamsey for you.
Interestingly, some people living along the coast are now seeing sand as their Galamsey, or sand winning as their Galamsey, which is very unfortunate.
The time I start beach camp, that I was 6 years. People they collect sand, grow, see the sand. The sand be Gary, government leave for us.
It's a crime. It's criminal. EPA will not permit and has not permitted any sand winning activity along the coastal line, let alone building fiscal infrastructure that can cause so much damage.
The sun is up here at the Kolegono beach. It's always a perfect time for people to bask in the sun, play games, and cool off in the ocean. Many people usually throng this beach on weekends, but not today. Only a few people are here. Filthy, polythene-ridden beaches may be driving beach lovers away. But even more worrying are the activities of these individuals here, engaging in sand mining, robbing the sea of its buffer in broad daylight. They scoop the beach sand into several sacks and sell the sacks of sand for construction works. Although beach sand mining is banned in Ghana, the activity is still rife. Saki Otokuno has lived here his entire life. He and several others earn their incomes pillaging the sandy white beaches of Ghana's coastline. According to him, the sand is a gift from heaven that will never deplete.
Sand is the sand way they it be our food. It be Accra people them our food. Ghana people will be our food. If you go away we don't get nothing, they can't take the sand, go sell some.
Beach sand is considered by these illegal miners as not strictly belonging to anyone. The relative abundance of this resource, coupled with unemployment and cultural misconceptions, have worsened the erosion of the coast.
How the people they chop the sand government with the beg leave us for us. So because your people they chop Galamsey, we talk. They know the year. Let dig the sand. Then the sand inside girl. But sometimes if they don't make about they dig the sand inside. So which will they dig and get more money to feed ourselves. So leave the sand matter for us.
People still think in the cornucopian era where they think natural resources abound. They are there to be used and can never get finished. But the New World Order has traversed through protectionism, conservationism. Now we are in sustainable development and sustainable management of these resources.
Jonah
is a fisherman here at Kolegono, but he occasionally collects sand for sale. To earn some more money, he mines beach sand and makes cement blocks for sale. Jonah claims many buildings around Kolegono and its environs were built using the sea sand. He downplays the impact of their illegal activities on the coastline.
It's unfortunate if people should talk about not seeing or feeling the impacts, because the impacts are clear and clear every day. There are damages and loss of lives and properties when the tidal waves occur. You remember Keta, very bad experience. So the effects are there, clear and glare for people to see.
That was Joy Prime's latest documentary produced by Emmanuel Divanu. We'll take a quick breather. When I return, I'll be joined by Kobe Spike Nkrumah. We'll be talking the latest from the world of technology. Do stay. I'm grateful that you chose to stay with us. Let's now zoom into the conversation about technology and everything about it. And our man, Kobe Spike Nkrumah, joins me via Zoom. Kobe, what's the latest?
There's a lot happening in tech, Bernice, and number one that's happening is, as you probably know, artificial intelligence, ChatGPT to be specific. And Amazon, the company that's responsible for Alexa, is saying that they are about to invest heavily in artificial intelligence technology, which is essentially talking about language learning models, generative AI, all the stuff that's been a buzz on the internet lately, where you see people playing around with ChatGPT and Bing and Bard. Amazon wants to cash in on that because it wants to assure its shareholders and its investors that, hey, we're not missing out, we're also quite there because, Alexa is a home assistant that a lot of people are using now. And imagine if Alexa was powered by the same language learning model that powers ChatGPT and the others, then you could actually have a very meaningful conversation with Alexa rather than just asking it, hey, Alexa, turn on the lights, or hey, Alexa, turn off the lights, or play music, or who's the song by. Now you can actually have a conversation. I'm not saying now it's possible, but in future when Amazon also implements the same technology that powers ChatGPT to their current systems like Alexa, then you could do some of these things with Alexa. Imagine your kids quizzing Alexa, not bothering you. You know how your kids can be asking you a question, Mommy, what's this? Mommy, what's that? And sometimes you don't know the answer. But if you had an Alexa that could just essentially work like ChatGPT, that would save you a lot of embarrassing moments when your kids ask those difficult questions, wouldn't it, Bernice?
Right, but you see, the other thing about this is, and I know you're excited about AI and all these exciting things happening in the world of technology, but we were having a conversation in the newsroom yesterday, and the fear for many people is that we'll begin to lose our humanness, okay? So is AI going to take that away from us, or is going to enhance it?
In truth, I can only speak for the now. When it comes to the future, well, we live to find out. I think that as humans, we have learned to evolve over time with every single new thing that comes, every new revolution that happens, whether it has to do with technology, whether it has to do with lifestyle, we evolve with it, we change. I think the most important thing is that people need to know it's the awareness, the education, and then we adapt or we improve to sort of integrate this new technology into our lives. I mean, it goes without saying that education is going to change. So teachers or the educational system is going to have to adapt to fit this new change into our lifestyles to ensure that we don't get left behind, you know?
That makes sense, not getting left behind, because we know that some of these things are really advanced in other parts of the world, and there are people who still cannot find their way around very basic technology, talk of ChatGPT. Well, what else should we know, Kobe?
So, in as much as, well, still talking about change, you know, a lot of people are still working from home. And one of the very interesting things that happens when you're working from home is when you have to do Zoom meetings. Like I'm doing Zoom with you now. And guess what? Microsoft Teams is about to enhance Teams with Snapchat filters. So, you know, your bunny ears and all those things are coming to your Microsoft Teams. So imagine me on this call with a Snapchat filter and with bunny ears. That would be very interesting. So yes, Microsoft Teams is going to make meetings no longer boring. Imagine your boss showing up to a meeting with, you know, the woman filter. The thought of it is just making me laugh. It will be very interesting to see that happen in various meetings where people are coming from all over the world with different filters. It's not going to be accessible on Teams, that is Teams for education, and the personal Teams. It's only going to be for Teams for work. So don't expect your students or your teacher to show up on your next Teams in class wearing a Snapchat filter.
That will be interesting, Kobe. Is there anything we need to know?
There's so much more. If you allow me, I will.
All right, please just give us one more and then we can call it a wrap.
Okay, so OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, is announcing a bug bounty program, which is essentially asking people who can find bugs in their system to bring it to them, and they could be awarded from as little as $200 to as much as $20,000, depending on how very important that discovery is to them. So if you find a bug that could potentially harm the system or harm users, and depending on the seriousness of that bug, they could give you a bounty of about $20,000. So if you're a software developer or you're a tester, this would be a very good opportunity to make some good dollars. I mean, these bounties are not new. Google, Microsoft, Apple have all done similar. So yeah.
Kobe, are you on a search to find one?
It will take time.
I want $20,000 sounds like good money. Let's talk after the show.
Well, we've seen people give more. Apple has even offered up to $2 million before. So yeah.
Right. Thank you very much, Kobe Spiky Nkrumah, there, sharing with us the very latest from the world of technology. As always, it's now time to bring you the latest update from the World Bank IMF Springs meetings. That'll be right after this.
Hello, good morning. Warm welcome to the business segment on JoyNews Desk with me, Pius Kojo Baka, and managing partner at Ishmael Yamson and Associates, Michael Harry Yamson, has attributed the lack of adequate revenue mobilization to the unwillingness of present and past governments to fight corruption. According to him, the government could rake in over 80 billion cedis if it blocks revenue leakages and puts in systems to end fraudulent undertakings, which are costing the state billions of cedis. He's been speaking at a public lecture on wealth creation organized by the Institute of Economic Affairs.
Go back to my ire on the DDEP. The domestic debt bondholders sat with government and identified 83.5 billion cedis of money that could be brought back into their purse if we cut out waste, identified corruption, revenue loopholes, and leakages. But today we are in Washington begging for 36 to 40 billion cedis of relief. So what's our priority? The second is that I think the issue is leadership, because it is wrong strategies that have brought us here and lack of follow through when we did have a good strategy. And it's also this failure to recognize that even the economy itself sometimes needs to be innovated. It needs to be renovated. We need to innovate skills, we need to innovate products, we need to innovate our products and services. But we have not had the kind of leadership that could see that and tackle that. So we have to go back to the point, chased after revenue. And that has become our God, our master, and our death.
Now, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, that's GUTA, has entreated its members to respond positively to the changing trend and adjust prices to reflect the exchange rates. According to the union, efforts by government to bring down inflation and, of course, the exchange rate are commendable, hence the need for its members to adjust prices. President of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng, has been speaking to us.
We are saying that we should take advantage of the reduction of the exchange rate, the downward trend of the exchange rate, to make sure that inflation comes down drastically. And that's why we are calling on government to make everything possible to sustain the gains that we are having. If we want inflation to come down further down. And then also we are saying that the valuation, customs valuation rate should also reflect the current trend of the exchange rate. Then also, we are calling on the Bank of Ghana to reduce drastically the monetary policy rate. We are not in price control regime, and that we cannot enforce any prices on anybody. We are just guiding our members to reflect their pricing with the downtrend of the dollar, downward trend of the dollar. That's exactly what we have done. Then the rest is subjective. And especially when the retailers, they are the worst affected because the importers can easily adjust their prices when the exchange rate goes down. But the retailers cannot because they buy from the importers, and when the exchange rate goes down, they have nothing to do with the exchange rate unless they have been able to sell their old stock before they can replenish with the new ones that they can reduce their prices. And that's where the challenge has always been. And they are in the majority. And so essentially all that we are saying is that we want every means that will bring inflation down, that will bring the monetary policy rate down, that we are able to sustain the gains that we are having in the stability of the city. We have to do that.
Dr. Joseph Obeng speaking there, and there is a need for us to go to Washington, D.C. because the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, has been speaking about the progress made on negotiations with creditors at the ongoing IMF World Bank Spring meetings. Well, here are excerpts from a press conference he held last night.
We have goodwill all around. I think we have negotiated in good faith with the fund, with the Paris Club, and now began with external investors, bondholders. And I expect that, the ship will be brought to port in good order. And really to thank Ghanaians for forbearance, very difficult time for all of us. But I think we are charting a course that will make our country a lot stronger.
Mr. Grateful, the delegation is led by the Minister for Finance, supported by the Minister of State, the Governor, and the Deputy Governor are also leading the Bank of Ghana's teams that are part of the delegation. You see the directors of the Ministry of Finance as well. So, Mr. we're grateful to you and the team. Colleagues, we're grateful. Minister has indicated.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta speaking there. And in business on JoyNews Desk, back to you, Bernice.
Thank you so much. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. We're very interactive as well on Facebook and Twitter. We are Joy News on TV. We'll be back at 12 with some more news for you. But until then, please stay with us. Home of independent, fearless and credible journalism.